What up, Lanco people? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a video about reverse culture shock. So if you couldn't tell, I'm not in Japan right now. I came back home to America for the winter holidays, and I'm currently in Florida. That's why the weather is so beautiful, and you can see the palm trees in the back. I'm also joined by my youngest sister, Autumn. So I've been back in America for almost 2 weeks now, and I haven't had the chance to go out and explore too much. Honestly, this vacation for me really was just to relax and sort of recharge my batteries. But there were a few experiences where we did go out and, enjoy some of the festivities, do some shopping, and just sort of integrate myself back into American culture. And in that time, I've definitely come across some experiences that just really surprised me and just took me out of my element. Even though that I'm American and I was born here, living in Japan for so long, you sort of forget some of the norms and the customs. So it was definitely interesting to see and experience some of these things. Number one, I want to talk about how big everything is. Everything is massive here. And I'm talking about things outdoors, the buildings, the cars, the trees, just the area, the landscapes. Indoors specifically, restaurants, gas stations, stores, there's just so much space, and it feels weird. Japan, there's not a lot of space. A lot of things are much smaller, more compact. And I think Japan does an amazing job with utilizing the space that they have. In America, so much open space, for me now it feels weird. And I feel like that space can be utilized for other things. When I go into a restaurant and there's just all this open floor space, or even some of the restaurants and the malls and the stores, the ceilings and the buildings are so tall. It's really a weird feeling. And I've gotten so accustomed to Japanese buildings and Japanese, smaller space sizes that here it still feels a little bit off. My number two on my list is people. First of all, people here in America are much taller than in Japan. As I got off my flight, I immediately felt short again. In Japan, I feel like I am about average height. I am the same height as most people, if not taller. And there's, a few people that are, taller. There's exceptions. Here in America, I think I'm shorter than most people. Yeah, it's a really weird feeling. Even my sister, she's 14 years old. She's just about as tall as I am. I'll show you here. This will be the height comparison. All right, so I'm just gonna give you guys a height comparison just to show you the difference. So this is us. So she's almost as tall. We have, I have boots on, but still, she's just right there. Next year, she probably will be taller than me. Everyone is either taller than me or just my height. I feel really short, and honestly, I can't wait to be back in Japan so I can feel average and normal again. And then going off of people, maybe the physical descriptions of people, I'm not saying this to come across critical or negative. Honestly, I'm just stating a fact. But America, it does have a very high obesity rate. Japan has one of the lowest obesity rates in the entire world. And then coming from that to America, it's shocking. That's all I can say about it. And again, not to be negative, not to say all Americans are fat. It's not. There are people that are still healthy and fit and that are normal size, but there is a higher rate of obesity. Another thing about people is how talkative and expressive they are. When you're out and about, when you're on the plane, you're on the bus, just non-social environments, in America feels like any environment is a social environment. On my flight here, gentleman beside me talked to me, and then the couple in front of me had talked to me. So I didn't initiate the conversation. They initiated with me. And then just being out in shopping stores, people have complimented me on, maybe, my style, or restaurants, I've had conversations with other people where I see other people going up to complete strangers. It's definitely different, because in Japan, you don't see people really go out their way and talk to people. Everyone sort of keeps to themselves. They stay within their own personal space. I want to talk about the students here, middle school, high school specifically. So I've been taking my sister to school. I've been driving her to school, picking her up, waiting to pick her up or waiting to drop her off. I get to see some of the students that are walking into school, that are being dropped off, that are waiting to be picked up as well. And it's really different just to see students or, kids in regular clothes. As you know, in Japan, all students, they wear school uniforms. And their hair has to be either black or brown, and then there's no makeup. So there's not a lot of variety and freedom with appearance. But here in America, they do have clothing like regulations, but you can wear any style of clothing that you want. There are kids with color dyed hair. They can have pink hair, red hair, blue hair. There are people who wear makeup. So it's very interesting just to see a school with so many different, it's almost like they're adults. The adults that you would just see out in public, but they're in school. And it's really weird after living in Japan and seeing everyone in school uniforms. Another thing I want to talk about with people, I forgot how multiracial America is. Being in Japan, it's like 96, 97% or even higher of the population is Japanese. And there's not a lot of diversity. But here, just walking around, there's just every race, every ethnicity, every type of people. And it's really amazing, honestly. It's really interesting. I think that's one of the benefits, one of the positive things about America. Number 3 on my list, I want to talk about the bathrooms. In Japan, when you go into public restrooms, a lot of the sinks are automatic. Here in America, they're not. And even still to this day, 2 weeks in, when I go to a public restroom, I go up to the sink and I'm waiting there for like 2 or 3 seconds. And then I realize I have to turn the knob or flip the switch. And there's no bidets. As you guys know, bidets are very near and dear to my heart. So not having a bidet definitely is a weird experience. And no heated seats. So even though I'm in Florida and the weather is pretty good, the toilet seats still get cold. At nighttime, the temperatures do drop a little bit. So having to sit on a cold toilet seat, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely something I'm not used to. Number 4 on my list, I want to talk about the food. So being back in America, there's a lot of foods that I really enjoy. And all the food has been really great. It's been really good, tasty. But it's also very unhealthy. And I forgot how heavy the food is. And in Japan, say if I eat a big meal, a big appetite, I might feel a little full, but it's not too strong of a feeling. But here in America, I can eat the same amount or even less, but it feels so much heavier in my stomach. Like I really need to rest. Like I can't do anything after a meal. So that's just been something really different for me. Number 5, I want to talk about sort of the cleanliness of America. Japan is known to be a very clean country. Here in America, there are some places that are, a little clean, but overall, there's a lot of issues with littering or just the maintenance of certain places, stores, bathrooms or social environments. The maintenance and the cleaning of it isn't as great. So some of the places, furniture, you can definitely tell like they're dirty or they're aged. And they're not taken care of properly. And it's something that I appreciate and I miss about Japan, really. Outside of that, honestly, I really can't think of too many other experiences that sort of shocked me and, that gave me that reverse culture shock. But I would like to talk about a few of the things that I've enjoyed since being back here in America. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how nice it is to drive. Especially when you're in Florida with the weather so beautiful. You can drive with the windows down, play some tunes, and really just like chill and just vibe out. So that's been such a blessing, honestly. It's nice to be around American humor. It's some of the jokes or some of my humor gets lost in Japan just because people don't have those experiences. They don't know the type of like either shows or how do I describe this? Maybe just the cultural differences. I can make a lot of different jokes here and people can say jokes and I really enjoy. My sister, Mia, it's really nice that I can share a video with her and she can understand it and get it and we can laugh about it together. Sometimes I can't do that out in Japan. And then lastly, I guess I want to talk about is just the weather. Now, this doesn't apply to all places in America. We recently just had a really strong cold front swept across America. It affected Florida a little bit. Our temperatures dropped to maybe about between 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. But right now, as you can tell, like, it's a really beautiful day. I think the temperature is probably around 23 or 24. So, and it's been really nice to just enjoy such beautiful weather. Right now in Tokyo, you know, you're freezing right now. The temperatures are really cold. And I'll be joining you in a little bit, but for now, I've really been enjoying the nice weather. I can't really think of any other experience. I'm sure there might be some others. Let me know if you guys ever came to America and had sort of the same experiences, you know, that I had. And if not, if you guys have questions, of course, questions about America, questions about my own experiences, I read all the comments and all the videos. So until then, Lanko out. There's a bee here. It's been bothering us as we set up, but